When I first heard Real, I was completely blown away. It came to the point where I was playing it 4 times in a show.
A lot of the people that I grew up with are also still doing music. Luckily I get to see some of them because of that.
I remember first hearing electronic music through probably my mum's collection. She said that when I was like 12 or something, I nicked one of her Ronnie Size CDs and got into like drum and bass through that. But I actually remember buying a copy of Music 2000 for the PlayStation. We'd all like either make tunes together or kind of make music on our own and kind of like show it to each other. That was part of the kind of excitement of like, you know, seeing who could get a better tune going.
A guy called Nick and a guy called Tom and a guy called Jasper, they all lived on my street. We lived right next to Alexandra Palace.
We just used to hang out in the park, skateboard, do what young lads do and just talk about music.
Nick had some decks, so we used to go and play on his sound labs with all these old records. And I remember he was really good friends with Charlie, who's Break, the drum and bass producer, and he was like a sick turntablist, and so he used to come round and he used to play on Nick's decks and we used to just watch him.
We'd turn up at each other's houses with a little plastic bag full of the latest records you bought that week, and then we'd mix for hours and hours and hours.
Swapping music and swapping like techniques.
Nick is actually one half of Dusky now, so that's kind of quite random that we are still kind of mates and we're actually doing the same kind of thing.
It's completely mad that that me, Matt and Nick are all kind of actually still doing that. It all started that long ago, and now we get the opportunity to actually play gigs together and play at the same festivals and play the same lineups. That's really amazing.
Kind of listening to everything, I just kind of liked everything, but I was still on my decks. I just sort of bought jungle and drum and bass, and then I started DJing out at like venues and house parties and putting on drum and bass nights with my mates, like sixth form college, and everyone was underage, and after 3 nights the guys just said that we couldn't do it anymore because so many kids were coming in doing credit card fraud and just like running up that like kids who just obviously just rob people's wallets a lot, come in with stolen credit cards, buy like 3 grand's worth of booze, give it to all their mates, and then just leave without paying. So the guys like, your nights are really good and they're pumping and you're playing sick tunes, but
attracting the wrong crowd.
Yeah.
I got invited by Mark Broadbent, who runs We Love, to sort of be a resident at his night, and then also Paul Arnold, who ran TFA, kind of signed me up to his agency, and that's how I kind of eventually met Matt. The first kind of house track I finished, I hadn't made a tune in years and years that I felt was good enough to send to anyone, so I thought this tune is actually pretty cool. I'll send it to like some radio people. This was like in the MySpace days. So over to like loads of Radio 1, Kiss FM DJs over MySpace, and like within a day or two it was getting played on radio.
Obviously Mr. Jam on One Extra has been a massive help. Like I think he was the first person, and he's definitely said this before. So.
Yeah.
I found Gorgan City. There was no way that a show would end without me playing Real. The first time that I played it 6 times in a row. I was kind of obsessed with the record. To be honest, I'd heard of what Matt and Kai were doing separately as their own producers in their own right. Rack and Ruin, obviously Matt, and Kai as FOMO. So when I'd heard that the pair of them had joined forces and they were making music together, I just really wanted to hear what they came with. And when I first heard Real, I was completely blown away. It came to the point where I was playing it 4 times in a show. I was trying to explain to as many people as possible in the building, these guys are the real deal. I'd seen the stuff that they'd been doing individually. The fact that it was kind of 2 powerhouses coming together to create something new really excited me, and I wanted to make sure everybody heard about it. And lo and behold, the DJ started to pick up on it, and that's where we find ourselves now.
You know, Scream and people like Ben Westbeach's Breach and like just loads of people that we see out on the road all the time. everyone kind of chatting about just making music and how things are going.
Especially Rudimental, like
Yeah.
when we started Gorgan City, that was just when they had Feel the Love, sort of. I remember when we were just starting Gorgan City, like that tune was just sort of popping off, and you know, eventually got to number one, and, like supporting them around the UK and Australia. So they've sort of been a big part of what we do.
It's really important to have those connections, because you know, when you're travelling and you're on your own and you've got kind of like tunes to download to get into a DJ set, you know, it's good to have people to sort of, you know, bounce off and share tunes with. You know, like I know Matt's like given me quite a few tunes for our DJ set, vice versa.
We sort of grew up together ourselves. We've known each other since childhood, so it's definitely helped us in our journey, and it's definitely something you need when you're away from home.
It's important to have your mates around you in this industry, because you meet a lot of random people who may or may not really be your friends. So having someone that you've grown up with and you know you can trust is like important.